All right, FloorCon, let's take a quick look at what happened on day one of FloorCon. John, Mike, and Todd got things started. Katie unveiled Flooring Stores United, Broadloom's new aligned dealer program centered around digital retail. We then showcased our new partnership with Podium. Dimitar took us through our new suite of visualization tools. Tom and Taryn showcased Dealer HQ, our proprietary free platform for Broadloom dealers. Jenny gave us an inside look at what goes into building your flooring website. Dan showed us how to make the Broadloom old-fashioned. All right, John, you're up next with your masterclass on digital retail. Take it away, John.
Hi, I'm John Weller, Chief Innovation Officer at Broadloom. Thank you for attending this session of FloorCon 2020. During the next few minutes, I'm going to be talking about digital retail and why we at Broadloom have put all of our resources into assuring that we are providing our customers with the best digital retailing solutions in the floor covering industry. The term digital retailing at its core is the process of providing customers on your website with helpful and intuitive tools that allow them to move through various stages of the buying process to simplify and expedite the purchase of floor covering. I don't think it's a secret that we now live in a world where individuals desire and expect convenience when they are shopping. Digital retailer allows consumers the opportunity to learn and shop and take further steps through the buying process at any time of day on any device. Check out this consumer study conducted by KPMG. These are the top reasons consumers said they prefer shopping online versus shopping in store. 58% said the ability to shop 24/7. This should be no surprise. The least convenient time for many of us to shop is 9 to 5 on weekdays. 54% said the ability to price compare. I know this is a hot button topic. Facts are facts, guys. Consumers trust companies that publish their prices online more than those that do not. Something you should think about. 40% say it saves time, and 39% said the convenience of not driving store to store. Okay, you see where the consumer's minds are. Now guess what? Those stats are from a study done in 2017, almost 4 years ago, and pre-COVID-19. Today we live in a world where shopping online is not just more convenient, it's just how we shop, period. 95% of Americans shop online yearly, and guess what? 80% of Americans shop online each and every month. So you get the point. Almost everyone is shopping online, most prefer it, and it's only going to continue, guys. So where does that leave us? And what should we do about it besides running more advertising on search engines and social channels? The best retailers are scrambling to figure out how they can create the best online experiences to seamlessly connect an online shopper to a human interaction and then lead them to a sale. Done well, digital retailing has the ability to differentiate you from your competitors and move the consumer out of shopping mode and into a fully engaged prospect for your company. Besides differentiating you from your competitors, creating a great consumer experience can increase customer satisfaction, increase sales, increase referrals, and even increase margins. Of over 1,000 automobile dealerships who deployed digital retail strategies, 51% reported higher margins. Offering your consumers a better shopping experience on your most profitable products will not only increase overall customer satisfaction, but will increase visibility and your odds of selling those exact products. So now that I have hopefully made the case, here are 7 examples how you can begin to work towards offering the customers a great digital retailing experience. Number 1, providing consumers with a product catalog showcasing your featured products is the first step into digital retail. Number 2, giving consumers the option to get the most detailed information possible from the products they are most interested in, specs, room scenes, application, etc. Number 3, offering augmented reality or visualization of your featured products. Guys, this is a big one, and it's only getting bigger. Number 4, digitally introducing the consumer to the person they will actually be working with throughout the buying process is really important. Statistics show that the sooner you can connect the consumer to the actual consultant they'll be working with, the more likely they are to move through to a sale, meaning do not bounce the consumer from person to person. Number 5, offering consumers contemporary ways of communication. Live chat, video chat, and texting with a flooring consultant while on your website is critical. Let's face it, communication has completely changed. The vast majority of consumers surveyed now prefer texting over phone calls. The more seamless ways you allow consumers to connect with your store, the more that will connect. Number 6, offering sample ordering for your showroom pickup or for home delivery on your website. Shop at Home was on fire pre-COVID. Offering sample delivery from your website is one of the best ways you can learn who a consumer is, what they're interested in, and moving them from a shopper to a buyer. And 7, allowing consumers to apply for credit. Allowing consumers to pre-qualify for credit online is not only smart, it generates highly qualified leads, opens the door to more meaningful conversations, and eliminates less than optimal situations in your store. So the best news today is digital retailing has only just begun. For flooring dealers who are looking to convert more shoppers into buyers, increase customer satisfaction, increase your margins, and boost your referral business, the shift to digital retailing has opened your door of opportunity like never before. So if you're not already perfecting your digital retailing game plan, please feel free to reach out to me or one of my teammates at FloorForce or Creating Your Space. Enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you, John. And with that, day 2 is officially live of FloorCon 2020. And now we are going from Sarasota, Florida to New York City for a message from Shark Tank's Mr. Wonderful on the current state of the flooring industry and how you will beat the box stores.
Hey, Mr. Wonderful here. Now, you know I'm a huge advocate of independent retail, and things are changing out there. The world is digitizing. Obviously, there are tectonic changes occurring because of the pandemic. All that's happening. But that doesn't mean you can't be successful. So I do want to do a really big shout out, no question about it, to independent flooring dealers. You know, what matters is at a time like this when everybody's thinking about home, staying at home, living at home, working at home, this is a golden opportunity to reach out to customers, acquire more of them, and renovate houses, you name it. Of course, you know that's on everybody's minds. And that should be really the driving force to keep independence going. Servicing customers, customer support, helping them make decisions and choices, that's what matters. And look, at the end of the day, don't ever think the big box guys are going to crush you like cockroaches. No. Customer service is what makes the difference. Customers always come back to where they can get serviced and where they get supported and where there's a relationship. And that's what an independent can do best. So anybody, if you're an independent flooring dealer, keep rocking. Stay independent, provide customer support, and you will thrive. Take care, my friends.
Thank you, Mr. Wonderful. Now, staying in New York City, we're off to hear from Google's Joe Chick on how consumer habits have changed and a few flooring industry insights.
Thanks, John. It's always great to hear about digital retailing, and I'd love now to connect digital retailing with how we're seeing consumer behavior. Hi, I'm Joe Chick. I'm a strategic partner manager focused on helping small businesses grow at Google. And I'm really excited and honored to have the opportunity to talk with you today alongside the Broadloom team here at FloorCon 2020. I won't lie, I'd have loved to have been with you in person, but the coronavirus pandemic has reshaped how we think about life and how we do things, both personally and professionally. In particular, I recognize what a challenging time this is for you and your businesses. I have both friends and family who are small business owners and have had to work around the clock and pivot their strategies just to survive. On the flip side, it's also an incredible opportunity to embrace the changes in consumer behavior and to thrive in a competitive landscape by ensuring you're there when your existing and prospective customers are looking for your products and services. Today, I'm looking forward to sharing some key consumer behavior trends we've been seeing over the past years and that we've only seen accelerate over the past 6 months. We're going to discuss what that means for your business, and also we're going to bust some myths along the way. At Google, we spend a lot of time throughout the year meeting with businesses across the US, gathering insights, understanding what makes each business tick, and how we can help flooring dealers to grow their business. We also spend a lot of time trying to better understand consumer search behavior, not just how people are searching, but the intent behind their search, the devices from which they're searching, and what they're doing at the exact moment of that search. All of these insights together help us provide more powerful and impactful information to you and your business. Mobile has changed everything. We no longer go online, we live online. 10 to 15 years ago, our media consumption was much more periodic and predictable. Now it's spontaneous and sporadic. Take a moment to think how many times you check your phone each day. On average, it's 150 times. And how many of you sleep with your phone next to you or get panicked when you leave your phone at home? Last year, I even chose to miss my flight, the first time I'd ever done that, because I decided to go back and get my phone that I'd left charging in the airport lounge. The key question is, why is this important for your business? A study showed that 9 out of 10 of us turn to search in the first moment of need. This might be anything from finding out where's the nearest flooring store to what's the best Netflix show to binge watch, something most of us have probably been doing during lockdown. We understand that what people search for provides a window into their interests, needs, and wants. And amid all of the searches in 2020, new consumer behaviors emerged and a new super empowered consumer took shape. So what does this consumer look like? We've seen evidence of 3 key behaviors. People are becoming more curious, more demanding, and more impatient than ever before. They can now navigate life from the palm of their hands, make decisions on the fly, and get more done. So let's go through each one and why this is important for your business right here, right now. Firstly, the more curious consumer. People have long turned to search to satisfy their curiosity, even for seemingly mundane things. A fun fact for you, in the past couple of years, we've seen mobile searches for shower curtains and toothbrush reviews more than double. But beyond what people are searching for, how they are searching for it paints an even more insightful picture, and we found people are now being more specific than ever. For example, where people may previously have searched how to install magnetic flooring, they're now searching for how to install Raskin magnetic flooring. But what does this mean? When consumers are deciding on a big purchase, like what flooring type to buy, it's natural that they not only consult friends and family, but also the wealth of digital information out there. 2/3 of us consult our mobile phone even when we're in the store to search for information about the product we're about to buy. And astoundingly, 71% of us trust that information more than that given by the qualified sales rep in the store. You need to ensure you're there with the right advice whenever your customers are looking for you. If not, it's like having your store shut when your valuable customers are trying to find you. Now let's talk about the more demanding consumer. Increasingly, people are expecting to find exactly what they're looking for, wherever and whenever they're looking for it. In 2015, near me searches on Google, such as flooring near me, had grown 2 times in the previous year. Fast forward 5 years, and we're shifting away from even using location qualifiers like their neighborhood, zip code, or the phrase near me, because we know that, thanks to our mobile devices, the results will automatically be relevant to their precise location. It's pretty cool, right? A recent analysis shows that nearly 2/3 of smartphone users are more likely to purchase from businesses whose mobile sites or apps customize information to their location. It's critical to capitalize on this behavior to capture your customers. The third behavior we've seen emerge is that of a more impatient consumer. Not only do people want to find actual products and services sooner, they also expect a speedy, frictionless mobile experience when they purchase these products and services. The crux of this is that customers are expecting everything on demand, and this is why digital retailing is so crucially important. Clearly, the coronavirus pandemic has caused a dramatic shift in US consumer spending patterns, the effects of which will be felt through the end of this year and beyond. And this super empowered consumer will continue to evolve. We've seen that consumers are looking to retailers for preparedness. For example, they want relevant and up-to-date information as they navigate this dynamic environment. And they're looking for assistive experiences, such as the ability to visualize products online from brands and stores that they shop with. So with more than 15,000 flooring-related searches in the US every hour, there is no more critical time to act on your digital marketing and ensure you're there with up-to-date, accurate, and relevant information when your customers are looking for you. Failing to do this is like having your storefront shut and handing your business to your competitors. So what does all this lead us to? To help put a name on these widespread and ever-changing consumer behaviors, we introduce the concept of micro-moments. Micro-moments are those times where we reflexively turn to a device, mostly our phones, to act on a need we have at that point in time. The I want to know, I want to buy, I want to go, I want to do moments. What's important are that these are intent-rich moments where our preferences are being shaped and our decisions are being made. It's these seemingly small moments that are your new battleground for your customers. So how do we identify the difference between just moments and micro-moments in a person's day? Let's look at an example. Let's take a look at my colleague Maya's day. Similar to many of us, Maya passes time over a morning coffee by turning to her smartphone for social engagement, news updates, and information searches. But let's see if we can make a distinction between moments and micro-moments. So when Maya gets up at 7:15, she checks her social media profiles and news feeds. She sees a friend online and decides to ask if they're free for lunch today. She's recently bought an apartment in the city, and while waiting on a response from her friend, she sees a post about creative interior design ideas and decides to look up this year's latest trends. Shortly after, Maya takes a photo of some beautiful flowers her sister sent her as a housewarming gift and posts the photo online. Later in the day, Maya and her friend have a great lunch, so she decides to post a positive review of the new lunch spot. On her way back home, she decides to check the status of her online furniture orders. Now you might be thinking, sounds like a normal enough day, but what does this have to do with my flooring business? Let's take a closer look at the micro moments. If you recall, Maya asked her friend to lunch, and she even left a review after the great experience. But there was a moment when Maya needed to look up a local lunch spot and make reservations. This is a moment in which she needed to get something done and needed information to do so. During this search, restaurants had the opportunity to provide her with relevant and helpful information that affected her decision on where to go. I know a couple of my local coffee shops have done an amazing job at keeping their information up to date over the recent months, while others weren't even discoverable, and I know from talking to them have missed out on business. Let's take a look at another example. Having been inspired by the interior design trends earlier that morning, Maya's flooring-related searches became more specific as the day went on, ending with a search to look for a flooring store nearby. Here lies another moment of need. Any store failing to show up will be out of her immediate consideration set. The distinction for a micro-moment becomes clear when you determine whether or not the intent of the search is rooted from a moment of need. So how does a brand, or more specifically your business, get the attention of a consumer in these moments? Our new reality is having an endless amount of media options vying for our attention, and also with video playing a major role. As business owners and marketers, it's our job to understand this new reality, and I'd like to bust some myths that may be holding some of us back from investing in digital marketing. First myth, that consumer attention spans are getting shorter. You may have heard that consumer attention spans have shrunk, but in reality, people can and do still pay attention. Our research shows that 81% of video viewing sessions captured people's attention. If anything, we're paying more attention than ever before. What has changed, however, is our tolerance for time wasters. Let's think about our own lives. We no longer put up with something just because it's on, right? 10 years ago, we may have sat through a video that we didn't find interesting. Now we just click next because we can. This means attention is available, but the bar has been raised. If you really want someone's attention, you have to earn it. The second myth is that consumers pay attention to all screens equally. We know that not all screen time is shared equally. When we've got the TV on, how often do we actually find ourselves focused on it? And how does this compare to watching videos on our smartphones? We have two different ways of viewing content. In lean forward mode and lean back mode. Our lean forward mode includes instances where we're learning how to do something, searching for information about something, or simply exploring a passion project. Whereas our lean back mode includes times when we're just relaxing or passing time. Recent research supports what we intuitively know. When people lean forward to view screens, they're 1.5 times as likely to pay attention than when they're in a lean back mode. And they're 1.8 times as likely to be in lean forward mode when watching online video compared to TV. For marketers and business owners, these lean forward moments, when viewers are less likely to be multitasking and more likely to be watching with purpose, are the best opportunity to capture attention. And the third and final myth. Even if people are paying attention, they've learned to tune out of ads, so what's the point of being there? If you're like me, certain ads seem to speak to you directly and you find yourself hooked. That's because when we find ads relevant, we can't help but pay attention. According to a recent survey, ads that are relevant to the viewer or feature people like them get 3 times the attention of the average ad. For example, imagine I'm in the market for a new tile for my bathroom and I see an ad for your business that I can see is local to me and has a special offer promo. That's pretty compelling, right? Today, new technology and data signals make mass personalization possible, which means you can deliver targeted, relevant ads to your potential customers when they're looking for your products. So let's recap. The fact is, it's more than possible to continue to win the hearts and minds of today's world. To do so, you'll need to discard the myths and remember these truths. People still pay attention, but with more content out there than ever before, the quality bar has been raised. You're most likely to capture people's attention through online video versus TV. And finally, once you've captured their attention, hold on to it by making your brand and your business relevant to each platform, each person, and each context. At Google, we often get asked, what's the next big thing? What comes after mobile? Where's marketing headed? We believe that the future coming into view is an acceleration of what we see today. To win your customer, you need to put yourselves in their shoes and at the heart of your marketing strategies. It also needs a willingness to embrace new standards for business, giving additional focus to these 3 things. We need to become smarter with data, perfect the mobile experience, and embrace omni-channel assistance. Let's start with the first one. Becoming smarter with data. This is a place where Google can help. Let's go back to the example of a consumer searching for new floors to purchase. Based on the user's intent, context, and identity, we can identify things like which ad is more relevant to a user who may be a loyal customer to your brand versus someone who might simply be looking to compare prices with competitors. And a lot goes into the background to make this happen. Millions of computations being run in real time for every action to show the most relevant ad. And all you have to do is create as many ads as are right for your business. And even better, the Broadloom team are experts on this and can make it work for you. Incorporating data into our campaigns is critical, but once you manage to capture a consumer's attention, it's equally important to provide a great mobile experience. We spoke about the significant impact a clunky mobile site can have on engaging and converting your customers. Remember, mobile is the new front door to your business. It shouldn't take a long time to walk in. In fact, this is where digital retailing thrives. From shop-at-home services to flooring visualizers, these are the new expectation of today's consumers. As new smart devices emerge and as consumers embrace new, more natural ways to interact with those devices, like voice commands, the micro-moment behaviours mobile kickstarted will only multiply. And finally, we need to embrace omni-channel assistance. And what I mean by this is you need to provide a seamless experience to your customers regardless of channel or device. The reality today is consumers can now engage with a company in a physical store, product visualizer, website, mobile app, or through social media. So they no longer distinguish the difference between online and offline. And Google is so often part of that path to purchase. 47% of surveyed global shoppers say they use Google before buying something new. Successful marketers will have a much deeper understanding of their customers at every encounter. They'll focus on acquiring a detailed, data-driven view to really know them and help them along their individual journeys and win their business. We've covered a lot of information today, and hopefully you found it not only to be insightful, but also exciting. There's still a lot to do to better understand our consumers' behaviours. However, we now have the ability to apply data, intelligence, and scale to help your business deliver the most relevant information and helpful experiences to your customers. I'm going to leave you with 3 things. The first, evolution. Consumer behaviour continues to evolve, and so must our marketing strategies. Digital retail is here to stay, so make sure your business is on demand. 2, connection. Connect in the moments that matter. Be there, be relevant, and be quick, or risk losing your customers to your competitors. And lastly, execution. Outsource to experts so you can focus on what you do best, running your business. Since March, when the pandemic hit, we've seen a significant spike in flooring consumer searches, indexing higher than any time over the past year in May and continuing to hold strong. Some of the top flooring-related searches that we're seeing at the moment are lumber liquidators, laminate flooring, hardware flooring, vinyl flooring. We're also seeing some brands and product lines appearing. For example, Pergo, Lowe's, Home Depot, Empire Flooring. To compete with the box stores, you need to be on the front foot and proactively drive interest to your business and in your local market. As we continue to see the DIY boom, both installers and consumers are searching online how to clean, lay, and install flooring. Focusing on your online presence will allow you to capture that consumer interest in that micro moment. And the great news is that the Creating Your Space and FloorForce team has a trained bunch of digital marketers and professionals waiting to help. If you'd like to learn more about how Google can help you, I'd encourage you to talk to your Creating Your Space or FloorForce teams about how you can do that. Again, a huge thank you for joining me virtually and for taking time out of your busy days. I hope I've been able to provide you with some aha moments and a few nuggets to take away. We're all excited to be on your side and eager to continue helping your businesses grow. Thank you. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I now look forward to handing off to Susan Weller, who's going to talk to you about how to hire the very best people.
Thanks, Joe. Understanding how consumer habits have changed is essential to fully understand digital retail. But before we go any further, none of this is possible unless you have the right people as a part of your team. So we're heading back to Sarasota, Florida for an incredible masterclass on how to hire the best.
Thanks, Joe. Hello, I'm Susan Weller, founder of Flooring Careers, and it's exciting to be with you today at FloorCon 2020. I look forward to sharing with you insider tips for hiring employees. But before I do, let me share with you how I got started in the recruiting business. Several years ago, I was recruited by an agency to recruit into the automotive industry. This was a very fast-paced, hyper-competitive workspace. To be successful, you had to understand the client's company culture, objectives, and the key skill set of the positions you were tasked to fill. After about 10 years of building my skills and successfully recruiting for almost every position in the automotive industry, from engineers to quality control experts to plant managers and even C-level executives, I met my husband. and I married into the flooring industry. See, both my husband and my father-in-law worked almost their entire lives in the flooring space. Like it or not, I think I learned more about the flooring industry in my first year of marriage than most people learn in 2 lifetimes. I quickly saw that there were many similarities between the automotive industry and the flooring industry. How manufacturers worked with distributors to funnel products to dealers and onto the consumers. The more I learned, the more I could see that the flooring industry, like the automotive industry, was really going through some changes and challenges that was forcing them to hire a new level of employee with new skill sets to keep them ahead of their competition. So after much consideration, Flooring Careers was launched in 2015. Flooring Careers is a recruiting agency solely dedicated to supporting you, the flooring industry. We've been privileged to work with flooring manufacturers, distributors, retailers, and commercial residential contractors. We now have thousands of flooring professionals in our database and growing. So today, I'm happy to be here to share the best practices that I have developed to hire the best employees to move your company to the next level. Grab your pen and paper and let's get started. Number 1, in order to hire better employees, you must position your business to attract better employees. What does that mean? Well, you need to be prepared to share your company's short and long-term goals. Define your company values and your company culture. The best employees want to invest their time and effort in a meaningful way with a company that is clearly moving in a positive direction. I'm finding that even during COVID, the best candidates will wait to partner with a company offering a true career opportunity versus a job. Other things to consider to attract top candidates might be try to offer perks that fit within your budget. This could be something as simple as granola bars and coffee in the break room, or perhaps a gym membership or covered parking spot. These things seem trivial, but they resonate with employees in today's market. Rally your company behind a cause. Maybe adopt a charity, volunteer together, and share your company's experience on social media and your website. Many candidates now tell me that they have researched the company before they interview. There's no better way to attract key employees and clients to share what makes your company different than by doing it online. The second tip I'd like to share is hire employees who are digitally savvy. COVID has moved the world forward digitally in a mighty way. How people shop and communicate has completely changed. The digital reality is here to stay. For the first time, I think every household in America now has a computer, an iPad, or cell phone. And I know this firsthand as I took my daughter to get a computer for school, and there was not one computer anywhere to be found. They were sold out at every store we went to and even online. With that being said, technology is key to growing your business and connecting with the consumer. As you hire employees back into your business, make sure your employees are comfortable using a CRM or even a Zoom or Google Hangout meeting. As a business, you need to think about offering your customers the most convenient ways possible to communicate and connect with you. And today, we're seeing that most favor digital communication over all others. You know, many clients who work with me often ask, where do you find all of your good candidates? Well, this is the third point. Number 1, it takes the understanding that bringing and hiring the best candidate possible will take a serious commitment of time. I review between 100 to 200 resumes in a typical search, and I interview probably 20 to 30 of those candidates just to find one candidate to introduce to my client. It's important that you use all the tools in your toolbox if you're trying to build the best team possible. There is no silver bullet. Many clients who hire me tell me that they use 1 or 2 sources like Craigslist or networking, but I can tell you from experience that the more channels you use, the more chances you have to meet the best candidates. I use many resources in my searches. Key channels like LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, AngelList, ZipRecruiter, professional social groups, clubs, and even local job boards, just to name a few. But keep in mind, the position that you have open will dictate the sources you use. but you will always need to use several to achieve the best results. Use these sources. They do sometimes charge fees and or require a subscription, but if you need to find the best talent, you must be everywhere the candidates may be. At Flooring Careers, we typically spend $1,000 to $2,500 per position advertising on the channels that we have decided to use in an effort to find the best candidate. The last insider tip that I want to share is to plan your interview strategy. Interviewing is the most critical part of the hiring process, and at Flooring Careers, I have a 3-conversation rule before any candidate is shared with the client. Think of this like dating. Do you remember going on a date and that first date, everything was super? He opens the door, he compliments your outfit. The second date, the conversation becomes a little bit more comfortable. And by the third date, you know if this person is a keeper or a goner. Interviewing is very similar. I highly encourage you as a company to allow at least 3 people to meet the potential new team member. The interview can be divided up as a one-on-one with a team huddle to see if everyone got the same vibe from the candidate, or use a panel-style Zoom meeting. It's imperative that as you interview, you keep your company roadmap in mind, your values, your goals, and your company culture. Ask yourself if the person you're speaking with will meld well into your organization. Remember, skills plus culture fit equals success. Hiring an A-level employee has a potential to raise the bar of your company, and I see this happen often. However, hiring an average candidate or a C-level employee can leave you with the regret of a missed opportunity to improve your company. Take the time to interview, ask behavioral and situational questions, and invest the time to get to know their goals and what motivates them professionally. Taking the time on the front end will ensure a longer and more meaningful partnership for the employee and your company. So wrapping up, let's go over 4 insider hiring tips to move your business to the next level. 1, be clear about your company objectives and plans when meeting a possible candidate. 2nd, be aware of the new digital reality and the importance of employees being comfortable using and communicating with the latest technology. 3rd, use multiple resources to locate qualified candidates. And 4th, take the time to interview and have several meaningful conversations before hiring. Thank you for taking the time here to be with me today. I hope this talk was informative and helpful. And if you're looking for a partner who knows the industry and has a track record of helping build great teams, I would love to talk with you. Best wishes in taking your business to the next level. Up next, Joey Zago will talk to you about Shop at Home.
What helpful advice that was. Thanks, Susan. Up next, we are venturing off to Troy, Michigan, where Joe Zago of the Carpet Guys will be sharing on how he built a 30 million shop-at-home business from the ground up.
Hello, FloorCon. It's Joe Zago from the Carpet Guys in Troy, Michigan, and I'm honored that I was asked to speak at FloorCon this year. This is my very first time speaking about my experiences in the group, and I'm really excited to share some of my journey of what took place over the last 10 years since I started my shop-at-home flooring business. I have a little bit of experience prior to having my own shop-at-home flooring business, the Carpet Guys in Troy. I had a few years where I worked door-to-door selling for Empire Today. I worked for a fantastic company out in Phoenix, Arizona, Express Home Services, Express Flooring. During my years with both of those companies, I learned a lot of things that I really liked. I also learned a couple things that I didn't care so much for. And so when I came back to Michigan in 2009 after the economy tanked, I had less than $1,000 to my name, and I wanted to start my own business. And so I took some really great big dreams, and I was able to turn them into some really great big reality. I always had a dream that I wanted to wake up on the water, and for the last 5 years I've been able to wake up on Lake St. Clair, Michigan. It's this gorgeous view, debt-free, thanks to my very profitable shop-at-home flooring business that I started just 10 years ago. So I'm excited to share some of my experiences. Some can be very helpful, some might not be so much. But I'm really excited to hopefully shed some light on some things that people might have questions about that really worked for me in the shop at home arena when it comes to floor covering. So I'm excited. So be wise and stay tuned. And thank you for having me a part of this. And hopefully we can all become more successful together. Have a great day. Stay tuned. So I started my business in 2010. And when I started it, I had zero money. We literally started it with absolutely nothing. And I was getting samples from a local distributor, as I was saying, the Floor Source. They supplied installers, and they had samples, and you'd get the samples, and I would take those to customers' house. So my first job was to figure out how to generate leads, and how do I get in front of a customer. So I did that with Google, I did that with yard signs, I did it with Facebook, at the time MySpace, and I really hammered social media and other people's energy to help me generate leads, so that way I can go into a customer's house and then sell them flooring. The first year we did, I remember my first goals when I first started my company was, at that time as a salesperson working for Empire Today and at Express Flooring, I never really worked a full year because I worked 8 or 9 months of the year, then I would take 2 or 3 months off and go back to Michigan. And so at the time, I was used to making $80,000 or $90,000 a year, but I never made $100,000 in 1 year. So my goal was to earn $100,000. And since when I started my business, 1/3 of my sale amount was going towards the installer, 1/3 of it was going towards myself, and 1/3 of it was going towards material. In order for me to make $100,000 in profit for myself, I had to sell $300,000 in sales, and I started at the end of April, I believe. And so by the time of the end of the year, I calculated if I wanted to make $100,000, I had to sell $300,000 in sales. So if I knew what my average ticket was, and I knew that I would sell 2 out of 3 people that I went to go see, I knew that I had to be in front of 3 people a day in order to make $300,000 in sales between that point and the end of the year, so I would make $100,000. And miraculously, I think I started counting in December to see where I was at, and we were already at $300,000 at that point. I still had a month to go. So the power of writing down your goals and constantly reminding yourself is huge. It's absolutely huge. And just the law of attraction worked in my favor, because I kept visualizing what it would be like to make $100,000 in profit for myself. So then the next year I set a goal that was completely unrealistic. I said, you know what? If I can do $300,000 by setting this crazy lofty goal, let's go for $1 million. And so we did. And I made these goals. I wrote these sticky notes everywhere of what I needed to do in order to generate enough leads so I can be in enough houses per day. If I was in 6 houses a day and I had another salesperson doing 3 houses a day, then we can do $1 million in sales. And we did 1.6 million. Whoa, this worked. So then the following year, we just doubled the goal again, and I think we did 3 million, then we did 5 million. And so by the 4th year, we were doing over $5 million in sales, and I was still working in the basement of this house that I bought for $35,000. So I didn't need a great big business. I didn't need a bunch of inventory. I was basically utilizing the inventory of a local supply house, being very efficient by going out there and selling a lot of these jobs myself. And, we managed to do really, really great. And so we finally got, I needed a marketing person because I was spread too thin to do all the marketing myself. I needed to hire more salespeople, because I couldn't do it all by myself with one other person. I needed to house more installers. I needed a place for them to pick up product, and I wanted to figure out a way how to be more efficient financially, because buying from the supplier all the time was costing me about $2, maybe $3 a yard on some products that I could be buying directly from the mill if I had a ship-to point, a warehouse. And I was doing enough volume where it made sense for me to cut out the supplier, the middleman, and go directly to the manufacturer. And so that's what we did. We shared space because I was trying to be efficient. I didn't know if I got caught in a 3 or 5 year lease, and I didn't know if I was going to outgrow the space, I would be limiting myself. And so I looked for a building that had open space in it that they wanted to rent partial space with. So I found another flooring place, and they had some space in their warehouse that they wanted to rent out. I don't think they wanted to rent it out originally. I went there and told them, I said, hey, what are you doing with this extra space? Would you like an extra $1,500 a month to put towards your rent? And I can take that space over there. So I just got creative and I started using that space. We didn't sign a longer 3 or 5 year lease. We just did kind of a month-to-month thing, and that's all I needed, because once I outgrew that space, I was able to do the same thing in another building. And that's what I did in this building. This building's
I want to say close to 200,000 feet in total, and 2/3 of the warehouse was just basically an indoor parking lot for their employees. So I went to the owner and I asked him, I messaged him on Facebook and says, I drove by your building, I look like you have a lot of space in there, would you like to rent some of that space to me? And so we sat down, we talked, and I was able to work out a deal where I rented, I want to say 5,000 or 8,000 square feet of warehouse space and 5,000 square feet of office. And then every time we grew, I just asked him, can we increase that space? And obviously he wanted to rent more space because it was just dead space for him. And so it was a win-win. And so I figured the best way to grow the business is create something that's a win-win for the person you're renting the space from and a win for you. And so that's what we did. And as a result, we've now been in this building for, I think, 5 years now. And I think we're occupying a little over 60,000 square feet of space. We have a full call center. We have a full sales training room. We have different departments in the building, an order entry department, a marketing department, an executive area. I mean, we have pretty much everything. It's really, really nice. But it didn't start this way. It started literally from nothing. And, so if you have a carpet store that's a brick and mortar, you might not go to where we're at overnight, but believe me, there's a process and you can definitely get there in a very short period of time if you follow that process. I ask myself, which department is probably the most important in the company? And you start thinking, well, it's like the body. I mean, what's more important, the brain or the heart? I mean, the body won't work without them. So you figure those are the two most vital organs of the business or of the body. And I guess you would relate to that as sales and installation. However, the body doesn't function without kidneys. The body doesn't function without lungs. The body doesn't function with a lot of very, very important organs. Just like this organization can't function without, order entry. The company cannot function without a properly working call center and sales support department. The company cannot function without sales, obviously, and without inventory. So a warehouse, the business cannot function without installation. Without installs, you got nothing. And without leads, without customers, you've got nothing. So every bit as important as sales and installation and managing the customers through a call center or CRM system. Very, 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 very vital is creative marketing, because you need to have your message heard. You've got to make the phone ring. If the phone doesn't ring at a shop at home store, or you have no customers coming in your door at a showroom, you've got no business. So it doesn't matter how good your salespeople are, it doesn't matter how many or good installers you have. If the phone doesn't ring, you got nothing. And there's really good companies out there that can help you with SEO. There's really good companies out there that can help you with pay-per-click advertisement on social media or on Google. There's lots of them out there. We do a lot of ours in-house, but we've used several companies. So let me tell you a little bit about marketing. You got to be creative. You got to zig when other people are zagging. I saw a speech at Surfaces a few years ago by John Goldman, and he had a book called The Secret of the Watermelon. And that little, I think it was 8 to 13 pages, taught me so much that really helped me launch my brand. And so I really recommend that you take the time to figure out ways to creatively market. Because people buy from who they like, who they connect to, not necessarily who has the best price. In fact, you'll find out that price is probably one of the least important aspects in the shop at home arena when it comes to flooring. So anyways, check this out. And as you can see over here, we're really dedicated to our customers, and it shows, because every year they have the Reader's Choice Awards does a vote, and they put it out to hundreds of thousands of people in the community, and they nominate different companies in different categories, whether it's restaurants or whether it's roofing places or whether it's like in our case, a flooring store. And for the last 10 years consecutive, we won first place as the most trusted place in Michigan to buy carpet or flooring. So 10 years in a row, we've won first place in this award. And it doesn't come because we have the best carpet, because we have the same carpet that everybody else has. We definitely provide the best service. We have good salespeople that are honest and they care. We don't try to hustle people and sneak one past a customer like you might see in other companies. We try to do really good business, and as a result of that, good things have happened to us.
So not just shop at home flooring business, but any type of flooring, but actually any business in general, whether you're selling ice cream or carpet, you got to keep your customers happy. So the most important thing I would say in most businesses is the reality that sometimes customers aren't going to be happy, and you have to have a customer service department to make sure you satisfy their needs, and that's what we have right over here, right?
Yes.
All right. So what I was talking about marketing, it's really, really, really important that you have somebody with a really creative mind. He is very strong where I'm weak, and I'm very strong where he's weak. And throughout an organization, it's really important that
You know, you can't just be the know-it-all that knows absolutely everything in every department. There's areas that I just absolutely suck at, and I'm able to recognize those things that I'm just weak at, and we can put people in place like Tommy, who is spectacular at coming up with really great creative ideas to help aid us in marketing, because without marketing, the phone doesn't ring.
You're with Brian, and Brian, how long have you been with us?
A little over 3 months.
3 months, and you have never done shop at home sales before. What did you do prior to this?
I was a restaurant manager.
All right, so you got some people experience.
I did.
So it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to come from a background of sales. You just have to have a background of being a good person and to get along with people, right?
Exactly.
What are you making in a month?
Well, this past month, I think it was a little under 20 grand.
In 1 month?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody that's going into shop at home? Real quick.
It's challenging, but it's by far the most rewarding career that you ever have.
What piece of advice could you give to them?
Give it your all. Try and make your customers happy. Be nice.
Now you're one person. What's the most you've sold in 1 month?
$259.
So you did over $250,000 in sales in 1 month. By himself, by one guy. What did you do last month?
304.
$300,000 in sales in 1 month.
Yeah.
Make any money?
Yeah, I made a little money. Yeah.
Nice job, man.
Money. Yeah.
So this guy's super organized when it comes to his shop at home inventory in his trunk. He even made. Can you open that bottom piece, Maz, and show everybody what you got back there? So he's got his hard surface samples back there, his laminate, his vinyl, his hardwood, and he's got his carpet samples up top. Very nice. What advice would you give to somebody wanting to get into shop at home as opposed to, normal traditional showroom sales or?
Well, the biggest thing is to believe in the company you're representing, and the Carpet Guys is a very easy company to believe in because, I barely get any calls from customers. They, with problems, and everyone's always just blown away by the service of the installers and everything. So it's an easy company to represent. And
this is Nick. And how long you been here, Nick?
2 years.
2 years. And tell me, what was your best month?
My best month?
Well, what was your last month? What was last month? What did you do last month?
My last month was 185.
185. What did you do the month before that?
I had to take some time off. 243.
Wow, $250,000.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So this magazine's our 2020 magazine, and we put this magazine out to really kind of share with our customers and kind of showcase the kind of people we are. Because people buy from who they like, who they trust. It's not always about price. In fact, very rarely is it really about price. Price is usually the objection or the excuse because they haven't found enough value and trust in what you're selling at whatever price it is you're asking for. So one way that you can really establish that common ground is just kind of share your character, be authentic. And so we put this out there, and we share this with our customers, and this is our 10-year anniversary. We do it every year. This is an older one right over here, and we talk about our culture, our family values, and just some stuff about us and the things that the fun we have, the camaraderie we have as a company and with our community. Here are some of the things that we're involved in, giving clothes away at Thanksgiving to the homeless. We help fill an entire gymnasium with the Salvation Army for toys for kids that our family are having a hard time around Christmas time. So these are just things that are, we like to share with our customers about what we do in the community.
So I just want to say thank you for taking the journey with me today. It was a nice few minutes to interview some of my staff members, and hopefully we were able to shed some light and inspire some ideas because it's all about being creative and thinking outside the box. Remember to zig when everybody else is zagging. We wish you the most success, and we're all in this for the same reasons. We want to do good for our families, we want to do good for our community, and we want to help other people and create jobs and opportunity for more people. So as long as we have the right intentions, I think all will be right in the world. If you have anything that I can do if there's anything you need or anything I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out. My direct email is joe@carpetguys.com. Again, joe@carpetguys.com. Remember to be wise, stay healthy, and be right in your community.
Every day I wake up knowing that the Carpet Guys family is built of local Michigan families. When I started the Carpet Guys 10 years ago, I wanted to create a company with real values, a company that cares, a company that will make a difference. When I drive into work, I get a great sense of pride knowing that our community is much stronger with all of us working together. We take great pride in every step we take along the way and every stitch of carpet that we lay. From our warehouse to our call center, to our design consultants and our dedicated installation team and every important person in between. When you call the Carpet Guys, you are calling your neighbor, your friend, someone who lives here just like you. We are your local family, and this is our family business. As a father, I can only hope that my son Giovanni learns the strength of what can happen when we all come together and treat everyone we serve not just as customers, but like family. Happy 10-year anniversary to my family at the Carpet Guys. Watching you and my son grow has been the most rewarding experience of my entire life. Thank you, Michigan. My family and I are forever grateful.
All right, FloorCon, we'll be taking a quick 5-minute break, and we'll be right back. A special thank you to all of our FloorCon 2020 sponsors: AccuCut, Podium, Wagner Meters, Rollmaster, Floor Covering News, Measure Square, Google, Perfect Vents. And now for a tools and tech highlight, essential tools for shop at home, featuring Measure Square.
You're about to measure this house for new flooring, and you hope to get the sell. You know that this customer has every one of your competitors coming to measure her house too. And you know that somehow you've got to stand out from the rest of your competition. That's why you brought your grandpa's old tape measure and half a notepad.
Cut!
Scene 1, take 2.
Action!
That's why you brought your iPad with Measure Square and Laser Measurer. You measure the house like a pro. Look at you zapping the walls with your laser while Measure Square draws the layout. You drag and drop products into the rooms and Measure Square calculates product quantities and seam layout with optimized waste and cuts in real time. Forget the calculator, this is too easy. You use Measure Square to create clear, concise, easy to understand floor plans for your customers. Now with the new Measure Square suite, you can sync your database and projects to your Measure Square cloud. That lets the people at your office access your projects instantly. The new Measure Square suite allows you to access projects on your Windows PC. And it's a perfect solution for creating commercial or multifamily estimates. It also allows your office to generate cut sheets and seam diagrams for your installers. Things are looking great for you now that you're a professional measuring machine. Thanks to the new Measure Square suite, you're selling more jobs, you're measuring faster and more accurately. You and your office are on the same page, and your measure mistakes have disappeared. And it's all done with the new Measure Square suite. Call us today or visit measuresquare.com for a free demo.
right, folks, we are back from our quick break, and FloorCon 2020 is about to resume. Thanks for sharing, Joe. This advice will help thousands of flooring dealers better understand what it takes to build a successful shop-at-home business. And now we are off to Greensboro, North Carolina. While growth is important, we also want to provide advice on tax tactics to help you save money with a mini masterclass from Patrick Ferries at Rollmaster.
Thanks to our partners at Broadloom for having me here. My name is Patrick Ferris. I'm Chief Operating Officer at Rollmaster Flooring Software. If you haven't heard of us, we've been in the business over 20 years, and we're a business management system specifically designed for flooring companies. This can be for flooring companies of all vertical markets, such as retail, shop-at-home, builder, multifamily, commercial, etc. So one system can handle it all. The premise of how we operate is to consult with you and try to make sure it's a fit. Our training staff is all flooring veterans, so when they work with you and help you implement the program, they understand your business. And we also consult with you pre-purchase to make sure it's a good fit. Now, business software can help you control all facets of your business, implement commission structures, inventory management, job costs, all the way from sales to the general ledger and accounting. Today, we're going to specifically talk about sales and use tax. Now, not the most exciting of topics, but before I lose you, if you're not utilizing use tax, you could be leaving a lot of money on the table. So bear with me. This will just take a few minutes to cover what use tax can do for you. First, we're going to talk about if it applies to you or not. Use tax is only eligible in certain states. It is eligible in quite a few states. California, Texas, Florida, just to name a few. There are a lot of nuances to use tax. For example, in Texas, you have to do lump sum contracts for the invoice to be eligible for use tax. So we encourage you to work with your CPA, local taxing authority, even a tax attorney to make sure you're eligible for use tax. I'm happy to also jump on a call with you and review it with your CPA and discuss what I've seen other companies do in your state to see if it's eligible. Now, I mentioned it can save a lot of money. Basically, what we're talking about here is taxing the cost of goods rather than the sale of goods. If you're in an area that allows use tax, but you're taxing traditionally on the sale of product, you're paying too much tax. You're paying tax on the profit when you could have just paid tax on the cost. Now, let's put a pen to paper and figure out what the numbers are going to be here. There's a lot of variables. Tax rates vary, gross profit margins, and of course, sales volume. So let's say that you're in a 8.5% sales tax area, and then let's say that your gross profit's 35%, and your annual revenue is $1 million. That is $19,000 you're leaving on the table in potential savings by switching from sales tax to use tax. And I should mention that's $19,000 per year. If your gross profit increases, your sales tax rate increases, or your volume increases, that number escalates. If you're doing $5 million, we're talking about $100,000 a year you could be leaving on the table. Implementing the proper business management system will help you take advantage of that and other industry best practices where you didn't know you were leaving money on the table. All right, Bob, please take it away from here.
Staying on the topic of tax and other ways to save money, we are off to Westfield, New Jersey for the return of everyone's favorite accountant, Bob Saunders. He will provide the latest updates on PPP and what upcoming tax law might look like under the potential presidential candidates. And please refrain from political commentary in the chat, as we want to respect everyone's opinions. Over to you, Bob.
Patrick, that was great. Thank you. Lots of good tips there. Hey, FloorCon, it's Bob Saunders, CPA and financial advisor. I'm happy to be here sharing some financial tips with you today. Today, I'd like to talk to you about a follow-up on the PPP program, now that you all have your loans, about some current events in taxation, and even some guesses about taxation for next year. Everything with PPP in the beginning was so fluid. We were stressing about every piece of it, and everything we stressed about has changed. The program did get better. We can't take the stress away from what we went through, but the program did get better. The biggest changes were that we went from having 8 weeks to incur expenses to 24 weeks. Before, we were limited to 25% on non-payroll expenses like rent and utilities. Now that goes up to 40% of your loan. There is one funny odd thing. We thought that transportation was an auto expense that we can include as well in the 40%. Turns out only the government could write this. The transportation meant transportation of your utilities to your office or your showroom. So like the transportation charge in your electric bill. So basically, it's your electric bill, your gas bill. It has nothing to do with transportation. An important part for owners is that, well, we're treated, quite frankly, as second-class citizens. We're not equal to employees. We're obviously below them. And so the total amount allowed for an employee, if they earn over $100,000, is 24 50-seconds of $100,000. For owners, they upped it from 8 weeks worth to 2.5 months worth. Completely different formula than employees. But in the past, it was $15,385, which was 8 weeks over 52 weeks times $100,000. So it's been up to 2.5 over 12, or 2.5 months out of 12 months times $100,000. That amount, however, unlike other employees, includes health insurance, pension, and all those amounts. We're going to come back to it later, but there's a reason it's important to know how much the officers, the owners, people that own over 5% of the companies get to take. It'll have a little more value for you in the end, even if your employees' wages well exceed your PPP loan. There remains a lot of uncertainty in PPP. The biggest and most important one to all the owners is going to be the taxability of the PPP loan itself. The loans were intended to be tax-free. Congress passed it with the intention that they'll be tax-free. However, the way the law was written, the IRS has determined, okay, we'll let the loan be tax-free, but since it's tax-free income, whatever you spend that on isn't deductible. So if I receive a $100,000 PPP loan and have $100,000 of payroll, I can't deduct the payroll expense. So effectively, they've made it so the PPP loan is in fact taxable. And so it's a little play on words, but Congress still wants it to be tax-free. The IRS is still going to tax you on it. The IRS is technically correct, and there are members of Congress and the House and Ways Committee, bipartisan, want to fix it. They have a bill passed to fix it. It's all of 2 or 3 sentences, and it's sitting somewhere that no one cares about and hasn't gotten any attention, for political reasons. We may not find out this answer for a very long time. There is an odd twist in what we know today can be free, and this goes back to the owner. If I am a sole proprietor and I have no employees and I borrowed $10,000 and I use that $10,000 to pay myself, owners don't take a tax deduction for what they pay themselves. Therefore, I don't have to add that back to my income. So the portion of the forgiveness allocated to owners and partners should be used first, because that portion is definitely going to be tax-free, while the reimbursement of employees currently has a loss of deduction, so it's not tax-free. And so in the application, even if you don't need it, you have to fill up as much as you can for yourself as well, because that portion will definitely be tax-free. A lot of our clients are asking us to begin the process to have their loans forgiven. But the truth is, we charged them, we took a lot of time and stress and charged them, our hourly rates to get the loans. And we think that a lot of these loans are going to be forgiven with just a one-page signature. It's been, again, proposed by Congress and hundreds of industry groups that any loan of $150,000 or less be forgiven with just a one-page signature of the owner saying I spent it properly, without actually saying how they spent it. That'll cover about 95% of the loans, and it will take a large burden off of the banks. And again, this has bipartisan supports, and again, it just hasn't passed. And with the election coming up, we're just not sure it's going to pass. There's so much thought that this is going to happen that as of today, the SBA has not approved a single application for forgiveness. They've received about 80,000 applications so far and haven't acted on one of them. Because of that, most banks don't even want to take your application yet. There are some issues on their side about responsibility that are unresolved as well, and they're waiting for further guidance as well. And so the truth is, no one should be applying for forgiveness yet. The good news is, there is no deadline for you to apply for forgiveness. Payments need to begin 10 months after your 24-week period ends. And your first week doesn't have to start right away, it's your next payroll cycle. And so, by example, if you received your PP loan April 15th, 2020, your 24-week period ends. The earliest would be September 30th. It could be a little later if your payroll cycle was a little later than that, which means your first payment isn't really due on this loan until August 2021. So we have plenty of time for the forgiveness. We are recommending to our clients, because we always recommend preparing your tax returns early so you have the most time to plan. We're recommending that they have their tax returns prepared, but not file them. Because the chances are we're going to hear about, we're guessing, that the PP loan will or will not be really tax-free until May or June of next year. And we're trying to avoid amending returns. As a general rule, most small businesses shouldn't be amending returns. There's too much exposure. A human has to look at your return. We like avoiding humans at the IRS. And so if possible, have your return ready, paying the tax on the most conservative way, assume that the loan is taxable, not tax-free, and hopefully before the extended due date of your taxes, we'll find out that the loan is in fact tax-free and you can file your return then. Moving on from PPP, there still are more COVID benefits that people should take advantage of. Everyone should look into the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This is actually on the Department of Labor's website, not the IRS's website. We can give out the web address for this. The act reimburses employers that provide their employees with additional paid sick leave under certain cases and reimburses them in full. So you could effectively give your employees money, make them happier, and have it not cost you anything. It's important that there's no double dipping here with PPP. So you can't take a deduction on PPP for paid sick leave because you're not paying for paid sick leave. You get immediately reimbursed by the government. And it's a real easy system. It lowers that tax payment that gets made to the IRS for the Social Security and Medicare withholding, the payroll service in that big lump, but you get reimbursed almost immediately. 2 weeks, up to 80 hours of paid sick leave are available at the employee's regular rate if your employee is unable to work because they're quarantined or experiencing COVID symptoms and seeking a medical diagnosis. That includes if someone traveled to another state and now they can't come into work for 2 weeks, you can pay them for those 2 weeks and get fully reimbursed by the government. This is available through December 31st. Another part of that act is, again, you can get paid for up to 2 weeks at 2/3 of their normal pay rate because they have to take care of somebody that has COVID. That also includes if your child care provider or school is closed. Now, for the most part, schools are open, but they're remote. It doesn't cover that. But if school is closed or childcare is closed, you can pay an employee for up to 80 hours for this at 2/3 of regular pay. And as a matter of fact, if it's an ongoing problem, they can receive that pay for up to 10 weeks at 2/3 their regular pay after the 2-week period if their school is closed or their childcare is closed. The rules aren't that complicated. They're pretty easy to follow. Your payroll service can help you. And again, we'll give you the web address. But this is a way to get free money for your employees. I'm going to share with you Bob's biggest tax tip. Whether you're a business, a person, this is Bob's biggest tax tip that you'll ever get. Your accountant is very busy until October 15th. He's not very busy until after Thanksgiving. You need to meet with your accountant between today and Thanksgiving for a planning session. It's the most valuable thing that we offer. We offer it to all of our clients and not everyone takes us up on it. But there isn't much planning we can do if you wait to give me your information until January or February. It's too late. This is the time where my head is clear. We have a pretty good handle on where you stand for the year, and here's where the ideas flow. Let me throw a few of them out to you. A lot of tax planning ideas really revolve around the timing of when you're going to report income and expenses. And we use that to try to fill up low tax brackets. We have a progressive tax system where, the first amount is taxed at a lower rate, and on an incremental basis like stairs, you pay tax on the next set of income at a higher level. So if you have room to pay tax at 15%, you should pay more tax. A lot of people think that I'm an accountant and I'm telling people to pay more tax, but yes, eventually you're going to have that income if you can accelerate and pay tax at 15%. Again, everybody's different. This is why you need to meet with your own accountant, but you should fill that up. So for example, if you had a bad year or maybe you made improvements and have a lot of extra deductions and you have room at the lowest tax brackets, you can do things like convert your retirement account from a traditional account to a Roth. Pay the tax now and never pay the tax again. Maybe you have annuities that have a lot of built up tax liability or savings bonds that have built up tax liability. This is a good time to extinguish the liability associated with those items at a very low cost. Other things, we just had a new ruling from the IRS. If you make leasehold improvements to your property and you get a deduction for them, but the deduction is over an extended period of time called depreciation. So when the IRS changed this law a couple of years ago, I think it was 2 years ago as a matter of fact, they intended to say that for a leasehold improvement of a retail property, you could depreciate it over 15 years. They made a mistake, it was a clerical mistake, and they said 39.5 years. They intended to fix it. Almost always we have problems like this, and we have what's called a Technical Corrections Act that fixes the things that were written wrong. But I don't know if you know this, but our politicians aren't getting along, so we haven't been able to put through a Technical Corrections Act. So finally, in one of the latest bills signed, they corrected the 39.5 years and replaced it with 15 years. So if you purchased leasehold improvements 2 years ago or 1 year ago, you have to fix the depreciation on that. You have to talk to your accountant about it and say, look, I was depreciating it over 39 years, but I heard I can do it over 15. You can actually catch up this year and claim that depreciation that you should have taken in the past on this year's return. It's a pretty cool way to save money out of nothing. The government also gives you the ability to write things off faster sometimes. And so ironically, this time they call it special depreciation. And so in order to encourage people to buy fixed assets, we have special depreciation. Special lets you write off any property with a 15-year life or less in that first year. So there's a chance you could even take all of those improvements and write them off up front. Certainly most of the equipment you buy, instead of depreciating it over 7, 10, 15 years, you could actually depreciate in full in 1 year. It's a great system to have, and it's one of the best tools we have for timing where income is in 1 year or another, but thought should be put into it in advance before it's too late. Along with the best advice that I gave, which is meeting with your accountant when they have time. And really, it's important to do it then. I'm not sure you're aware of this, but accountants aren't known for their winning personalities. If you approach them during this time of year, they probably have more free time and it probably will be a little less unpleasant for you. Also think about next year. There's been another change in the law where a lot of businesses were required to be on what's called the accrual basis of taxation or accounting rather than a cash basis. So they're reporting income before they receive it. It's when they earn it versus cash basis when they earn it. So one of the changes in the last 2 years was that they lowered the threshold. So in the past, a lot of businesses had to be accrual and they no longer need to be. So you're actually allowed to change that. So that change can happen starting January 1st of next year, which would really help timing-wise your tax planning and save money next year. During tax time, quite frankly, we're probably too busy to think about it. Bring it up now. To make that change, it's a change in an accounting method. You would file Form 3115. So if you don't remember anything else, ask your accountant, was I cash or accrual? Can I file a 3115 and change my method? Is it worth it for me to think about that? I'm going to tell a joke. Why did the accountant cross the road? Well, the answer is because that's what I did last year. And so instead of just repeating everything you did in the past, give it some thought. What type of entity are you? An LLC, sub S, sole proprietor? Is that the best entity for me to be next year? And maybe this is an opportunity to make a change and improve my situation. This impacts everybody differently, and not only that, but every state does it differently, so it's important to talk to your own advisor. The major difference in the two is that as an S Corp, the owner is required to take salary, just like the employees. It's called reasonable compensation. Whereas with an LLC or sole proprietor, you just take a draw, you take your own money. So with an S Corp, you could actually save Social Security and Medicare tax. So let's say, by example, last year my company made $100,000 and I was a sole proprietor. I paid Social Security and Medicare tax on $100,000. It's not unfair. As an S Corp, and by the way, I just looked at Joe Biden's return. This is what he does. Joe Biden earned about $5 million giving speeches. He took $200,000 of that in salary and $4.8 million as S Corp dividends. You only pay Social Security tax on the $200,000 and Medicare tax. You don't pay it on the $4.8 million he took as S Corp distributions. In addition, during Joe Biden and Barack Obama, we put in the Affordable Health Care Act, which created another layer of tax called net investment income tax. This is also exempted from that tax as well. So there could be a significant savings in becoming an S Corp and allocating your profit between reasonable salary and S Corp dividends. The flip side to that is under Donald Trump, we had a tax law called Section 199A, which basically allows some self-employed people a tax deduction of 20% of their income. So as a sole proprietor, if I made $100,000, I would only have to pay federal tax on $80,000. That's a nice deduction to have. Here we're getting a deduction without spending money. Usually when clients say, is there anything else I can spend a lot of money and get more deductions, I offer to raise my fees. Doesn't always go over well, but here's a deduction for nothing. So as a S Corp in that example, and you took salary of 40 and S Corp distributions of 60, you only get the deduction on the 60, whereas a sole proprietor you get it on 100. So those are two of the bigger items you have to weigh with your accountant. Where do I benefit more? Saving on Social Security, Medicare, and the affordable health care taxes? Or do I save more with staying as a sole proprietor? I'm going to go out of sequence for a minute. One of the tax policies of Biden going forward is that he wants to raise the Social Security tax. I'll get to it in a moment, but here's another way around that. And by the way, all we have to do is follow his lead because that's what he did on his last two returns. The majority of his income was S Corp distributions and not salary. This is also a great time of year to think about your employees next year. I've always felt you need great products. but you need great employees to tell your customers you have great products, and your employees, are who represent you. And if you want responsible employees that do a good job, you've got to treat them responsibly. And so, not a tax tip, but it's something that I run into often. If you want responsible employees, you need to give them a clean bathroom. No responsible employee wants to go to the bathroom and worry about the mop falling on their head or the chemicals all over the place. So it's treating them respectfully and responsibly. But they also expect responsible benefits. And so this is a good time of year to think about putting in, for example, like a 401k for next year. There was a law passed 2 years ago that's just starting in 2021 called the Secure Act. Because of the virus, they're a little behind in putting out all the rules, so we probably need a few months into 2021. But the Secure Act allows small businesses to group together to have one larger 401k. And what that'll do is it should eliminate the administrative costs of running a 401k. We're putting one together for all of our clients. The 401k still has some costs, but for small businesses, typically they need to do something called a safe harbor plan. There is socialistic testing involved, and the owners can't get a greater benefit than the employees. The way around that is called a safe harbor 401k plan. So if we can eliminate the administrative costs through the Secure Act, the only costs you'll be left with are either a 3% contribution for all eligible employees or a 4% match on employees that also put away 4%. So if half your employees don't put anything away, you don't put anything away for them. It's sort of like they have to be in it in order to win it. If you're willing to do that, either 3% of everybody or a 4% match, you'll be able to put away for yourself 3 pieces. First, the typical employee salary deferral. It's $19,500 if you're under 50, it's $26,000 if you're over 50. Plus, you get the 4% match for yourself. Plus, you need a little help from an actuary, but you can do what's called an after-tax contribution and immediately convert that to a Roth. Between those 3 buckets, you can put away between $25,000 and $50,000 or $60,000 at a cost of only 3 or 4% of your employees. And hopefully, you gain value by putting something away for your employees, and they should feel they're getting more than a job. There's a future there, you care about them, and there's a retirement for them. Another employee benefit that I find responsible employees want is health insurance. Unfortunately, that becomes hard sometimes, especially after the Affordable Care Act, for small businesses to do. And part of the Affordable Care Act was actually to separate employees from their health care, so that, or employers from your health care, that you can get your health care on your own without being dependent on, and they phrase it, a slave to your employer. And so they changed the way employers can reimburse employees for those costs. So if you're a small business, let me make sure I get the initials right here, you can get what's called a QSEHRA, Qualified Small Employer Health Reimbursement Account. Basically, if you don't provide health insurance to your employees, you could provide each employee with, I'm sorry, I didn't write down the amount, it's about $400 a month of reimbursement for medical care, ranging from health insurance, dental insurance, to their out-of-pockets for whatever policy they have. And that money is tax-free to them, and you're not going to pay employer payroll taxes or workers' compensation on it. So it's a way to pay employees favorably for them, again, no tax to them, and no added costs for you. You do have to treat everybody the same, but it's a nice way to reward your employees. Maybe do it 1 year instead of a raise, because it is money for them, but they will feel more appreciated by having something like that around. So QSEHRA, Google it. It's a nice plan to have. There's no cost in setting it up. As my final topic today, I want to talk about what I think taxes are going to be in the future. So we obviously have an election coming up, and I'll share with you a little bit about each candidate's tax plan. So Donald Trump has had 4 years to put his tax policy in place, and he's achieved most of it. The funny part is he has a very liberal tax policy that if it weren't for so much hatred, Democrats would love it. And quite frankly, a lot of conservatives, like myself, aren't so pleased about it. Since Ronald Reagan, every president, Democrat and Republican, have shifted the burden to fewer and fewer people, the people that work hard, that create jobs and eventually, hopefully have some success, pay a larger and larger percent of the tax. And so the rank and file, about half the people in our country actually don't pay tax. So the liberal argument for saying that that's not a fair statement is that everybody pays payroll taxes. And so even if you earn $10,000, you're paying 7.65% Social Security and Medicare tax. So Donald Trump wants to help that same group that every other president seems to want to help, whether it's to get votes or he means it, and provide a break for that group of people that really don't even pay tax to begin with. And he'll do it by eliminating the Social Security and Medicare tax for people that earn under a certain amount. He tried putting this policy in place a couple of months ago, and you may have heard about it, and some people are actually taking advantage of it. From, I think it's October 1st through the end of the year, people that earn under $100,000 a year don't have to pay Social Security and Medicare tax. They do not have to have it come out of their pay. And Donald Trump's intent is to forgive that amount of money. The problem is he doesn't have the right to forgive it, and he's waiting for it, and he assumed that Congress would pick up from there and Congress would forgive the Social Security and Medicare tax. And so most employers weren't willing to do this because they would be on the hook for the employees should they not repay it, and we don't know when they have to repay it. So he created an idea, he created a deduction, but he unfortunately didn't have the authority to finish it. But this has been his campaign promise from 4 years ago, and it's what he wants to do going forward. And so for lower income people, typically $75,000 for married, $75,000 single, $150,000 married or less, he wants to avoid those people paying into Social Security and Medicare tax. Biden's tax policy. As I said before, every president since Reagan looks for ways to lower our tax rate, but it's disingenuous. The reality is each one of them, Dems and Republicans, have raised the amount of tax that most of our clients pay. I mean, granted, we have more successful clients, business owners that work hard and take risk, and we're shifting more and more of the burden to them and pretending that they're paying less tax by having a lower rate. So many people don't pay tax that that's hard to do. During the Obama administration, he started giving away money to people that didn't pay in to begin with because he was trying to help the same group. So under Obama, they put this $1,000 per child credit in. So let's say we do your taxes, and because of all the breaks, you pay zero tax. You still get back $1,000 a child. And so you're getting back money that you didn't pay in. Biden has proposed changing that $1,000 credit to $6,000. So if you have two children and earn $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 and don't pay any federal income tax, you would get back $12,000. I'm not sure if that has any realistic chance of passing, but that's one of his major proposals. Another theoretical change that he would like us to make is lose all of our deductions in favor of a credit. This would apply to home mortgage interest, real estate taxes, and 401k deductions. So he's come out and he said, look, someone that earns $30,000 a year and they have deductions, whether it's a 401k or itemized deductions, they're only saving tax at 10 or 15% because they're in the lower brackets. Meanwhile, Warren Buffett, who earns billions of dollars a year, he saves 37% by putting money away in his 401k. Because in the past, we would take deductions off of our income. So Biden wants to change those from deductions to a credit. So if you put away $10,000 in your 401k, everybody saves $2,500, regardless of your tax bracket. So it's not going to lower your income, it's going to lower your tax. There's problems with this. When you go to take the money out of your 401k, you're going to pay full tax on it. So it doesn't seem fair to do this, but it has a lot of support, for everyone to save the same amount for doing the same thing. Another policy of Biden that I touched on before is he wants to shift the Social Security burden to higher income earners away from lower income earners. And so we'll call it a donut hole. That's the expression that's being used. Currently, you pay Social Security tax on about the first $130,000 or $140,000 that you earn. It's adjusted for inflation every year. Beyond that, you don't pay Social Security tax. Biden wants to put in place that if you have the nerve to earn $400,000 a year, married, he might make it $200,000 if you're single, that you start paying Social Security tax again. So the total tax is 6.2%. So if you earn $500,000, you could experience a $6,200 increase in tax. For the very high earners, it is a very significant increase. It can cause you to pay over 50% in federal tax alone, if that goes through. Now, during the George Bush administration, he opened the door for this. Medicare from employees' pay used to stop at the same level as Social Security. So you wouldn't pay Medicare tax above $130,000 either. He added drug benefits to Medicare recipients, and to pay for it, he lifted the cap on Medicare costs, so employees pay Medicare on all of their earnings. Eventually, if Biden has his way with this donut hole where you pay on the first $130,000, then you skip and then you pay again, you know eventually that donut hole is going to get filled in and everyone's going to pay Social Security and Medicare tax on all of their earnings regardless. We're seeing this happen at the state level with unemployment and disability premiums as well, where they used to pay, every state is different, but they would pay a 1 or 2% tax on the first $10,000 or $20,000 of earnings. Here in New Jersey, they made it unlimited for disability insurance and kept unemployment the same. You know that next year, with all these claims, they're just going to raise that on unemployment as well. So look, they're going to lower the rate by 0.1% and save us money without telling us that they're increasing the wage base from $30,000 to making it unlimited. Typical politician talk. I hope you enjoyed hearing the updates on PPP, some suggestions for tax tips, and Bob's guesses for the future. Keep in mind Bob's biggest tax tip: meet with your accountant between October 15th and Thanksgiving. It was great speaking with you, and I'll hand it off to Todd Saunders.
Thanks for your advice, Bob. We are grateful for your participation, as it will help dealers save money and take the necessary steps to best prepare themselves for the year ahead. Now, to almost close out the day, we are heading back to New York City, where Broadloom CEO Todd Saunders will provide the closing address for FloorCon 2020. But don't go anywhere, as we have flooring trivia for the chance to win $500 to close out FloorCon 2020. From all of us at Broadloom, thank you so much for spending these last 2 days with us. Close it out, Todd!
Thanks, Dad. Your tax advice has been extremely helpful for our dealer network, and we appreciate everything you did for the community during the PPP loan application and forgiveness chaos. Now, back at the beginning of the pandemic, we mentioned that the best was yet to come, and that is why we created FloorCon. We created FloorCon to provide innovative technology to help you sell more flooring, helpful content to help you learn and improve your flooring store, and to launch a reimagined aligned dealer program to bring digital retailing to the flooring industry. As I previously said, FloorCon wasn't created by us. It was created by you. And that doesn't stop today. Please let us know what you loved, what you hated, and everything in between. Your feedback is invaluable to us as we build FloorCon into 2021. From our Broadloom dealers, from all of us, thank you. Thank you so much for all of your support. We are motivated by your success, and we will continue to build and improve these products and programs each and every day. Now, in the chat box below in Facebook Live, you'll see a link to sign up for Flooring Stores United. It's on a first come, first served phase rollout. Your account manager will discuss enrollment in your upcoming QBR, so please sign up. There's no need to reach out. Additionally, with all the fantastic tools and partnerships we've announced, your account manager will share our new pricing and packaging to put you and your store to the test of digital retailing. There's so much incredible value that we've packed into these tiers. We are so excited to walk you through it. For the dealers we haven't had the opportunity to work with yet, please sign up and we'll reach out to start a conversation about how either FloorForce, Creating Your Space, or Flooring Stores United can help you elevate your store. In the bottom of my entire team's heart, thank you so much for joining us over these last 2 days. And now, but not least, we'll be having a live trivia challenge with a chance to win $500 and deflect your flooring knowledge. We're posting the link below in the chat as we speak. See you there, and as always,